Okay.
And go ahead.
All right. So we'll call the meeting to order and start off with approval of the minutes from June 8th, 2020. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve?
Make a motion that we approve the minutes.
I'll second that motion if that's allowed.
Yep.
And anyone opposed? All right, take that as acceptance. Is that good enough, Sherry?
That's perfect.
Okay, good. Now we can move on to topics from the floor. If there's anybody who's not on the agenda, who's present, who wants to speak today.
Is this okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Barely.
Okay.
Get-
Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
get closer.
My name is Caroline
There we
Skinner. This virtual meeting is saving so much driving. I think it's great. And hi, Howard. And hi, Lynn. I just wanted to say a few things real quick. I'm Howard's partner, and I'm one of the stewards at Nob Hill. So we just held our annual native plant walk. And we had, in addition to me and Howard, we had about 9 or 10 park guests. And we all wore our masks. And we mostly walked in a big circle so that it was one direction, with a short spur up the 5th Street right-of-way to see the boardwalk. And then we reversed out and just completed the loop. And everyone was very complimentary, and we've, bumped into some other park users. So, Lynn, since you're on this, I just thought I'd mention Native Plant Society could very likely be interested in a meeting at Dalton, or a plant walk at Dalton. If you want to lead a tour, you and I could talk another time about that. And I'll just say that in the first 6 months of the year, January through June, we donated approximately 100 hours of time at the park, mostly me and Howard, with assistance. We couldn't have our annual work party due to COVID, so we had a few small group work parties, like when we did some sawing of ivy and a few things. Which brings me to the next thing of thank you to Howard for all his hard work on the weed whacking, and our friend Patrick helped a little too, which brings me to my main reason for wanting to be here today. I'll just briefly say, we're still hoping after this year to, in the future years, get the city staff to mow maybe once a year from the park entrance to 3rd and back. And then the city built this wonderful new spur on 5th Street right-of-way with 0 plans for maintenance. And it was quickly becoming very overgrown to the point of marginally usable. So Howard stepped up and took on even more weed whacking. But my question for this group is, and we may not know the answer with COVID, but I know that we sometimes use corrections crew, and I think that it would be the perfect job for them. And I'm giving the group a whole year to think it over, to say, I hope we can use the corrections crew on 5th Street right-of-way. I believe June 15th to July 15th would be the perfect window for them to just mow up one side and down the other.
Thad, do you want to respond to that and fill her in a little bit on the corrections crew? Or do you want me to?
Well, you can go ahead. They did come this weekend from McCormick Park, did a little bit of work, but otherwise they have just been in limbo with the COVID thing. We haven't had them here for months. So that was the second time, I guess. They sent couple of people over so they can walk, because they can't transport them because of the COVID, so they have to walk here. And so they're not regular at all. This was just out of the blue. They called me Friday and asked if they could come here Saturday. That's the best we've got so far. And then our crew has been shut down to 3 people, and we don't have any summer help or anybody else at the current time, so we're pretty stressed out.
I just want to add that what I just said is in no way meant as a criticism. I really understand that the resources are very limited, and fortunately it's a kind of thing where once it's done around this time of year, that's pretty much it. It's not like it'll need doing over and over necessarily. So it's a long range hope. I understand that they can't transport, but we don't even know if they'll be able to next summer, I suppose. But I just wanted to plant that seed and say there needs to be some maintenance plan for Fifth Street right of way, because it goes through a very jungly, dense area. That's really all I have. So I'll probably mute myself and stay on for a little while. I may not stay on for the whole meeting, but thank you for giving me a moment.
Yeah.
And Carolyn, I'll go ahead and give you a call.
Sure, email or call, great.
Yeah. And I think we're all on board with what you have to say, Carolyn. I agree that that's a perfect activity for the corrections crew to do. And hopefully
Yes, it is.
that'll be something that we have more regularly but you know, we'll just have to see how this whole thing plays out.
Great. Thank you for talking, Caroline.
Shauna, did you want to pop on or?
Yeah, I just wanted to fill you guys in. I don't know if all of you guys saw that the parks departments, recreation, library, and public works all kind of partnered together and put in a story stroll over at McCormick Park. So it's a book of, I think there's 20 pages out there, and it's very simple. Just wanted to see how the community reacted and what that was going to look like. I've been popping over there twice a day just to, you know, make sure everything's still where it should be, and have gotten a lot of really great feedback from the community for it. But one thing I wanted to talk about is putting something in a little bit more permanent. There's a lot of communities that have, you know, kind of like where those Lions Club exercise areas are, they have like the permanent sign that tells you how to utilize it. And so we were thinking it would be fun to have something like that so we can change out the stories every few months, and maybe, you know, one time it's a mystery stroll or a like a physical exercise type thing. And we can also put different events that are coming up in there. So I just wanted to kind of point here to see if that's something that we would be interested in doing. And I don't even know if the commission's the right place or just going to THAD, but I have a few partners that possibly would donate materials for it. And so, yeah, before I went any further with that, I just wanted to see if that's something that you guys would like me to explore a little bit more, I guess. So thank you.
I think that's a really great idea, and I love that the story stroll is out there right now. I was thinking it would be something that would be nice in the school year, especially with the uncertainty of school and what's going on, but to have kind of something for kids to do that can be educational, I think is awesome. So I would love to see it go permanent. So if there's anything we can do to help you, I would love to help. So.
Awesome. And we've thought about other locations too. We were just going to focus on McCormick Park for right now because of our limited resources. But I've even seen like during the winter time doing like a Polar Express one where maybe we decorate the trail with some Christmas lights. And then at the end where the library is, we do hot chocolate or something. I don't know. So lots of different ideas that we could have. And it gets people in our parks and they get excited about it. Each time I went, there's been a lot of people looking at that. I got to walk with a 3-year-old for 10 minutes the other day so she could show me all the picture books on there. So it seems to be going well. And also, if you guys see anything like any kind of vandalism or anything like that, please let me know so I can get that fixed and pop over there as often as possible. But you know how that goes. So thank you guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Do we have any other guests who want to talk today?
I see Claire is here, but I don't know if she is just sitting in, and Jenny, or if anybody wanted to say anything. I don't see any hands raised or anything.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and
Jenny
move
says
on.
no.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on then to the counselor's report. Doug?
Oh, thank you. And Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to see everyone, and beautiful day today. And one of the things that I've noticed in our parks is that some of the civic groups are meeting outdoors, and they're meeting maybe down at Columbia View Park and over at McCormick Park. I know Kiwanis meets at Columbia View Park on Thursdays at noon. There's other groups that are utilizing McCormick Park. That's kind of exciting to see. Another role for our parks in facilitating meetings when you don't need to mask up, basically. I mean, 6 to 10 feet away, and everyone's, from what I've seen, everyone's obeying that kind of standard, and that's exciting to see. Carolyn, congratulations to you and to your group, and thank you so much for your continued volunteerism in Nob Hill Nature Park and making that such a fantastic facility. I just think as a nature park, it's ideal. It's totally ideal, and congratulations to your crews who volunteered to clean it up. I'd also like to report on Sand Island. Wow. Sand Island was totally full over the 4th of July holiday. That meant that, count them up, I think there's over 60, somewhere around 50 to 60 camping sites, and they were all full. And there were other people who visited Sand Island at the same time who didn't camp. There are a lot of boats and that kind of thing around. It's functioning. It's functioning to capacity. To me, it's a dream come true. Our parks people do not have to go over there and clean the place up. Was a big drain on the city. As you know, we have all this acreage of parks that needs to be taken care of, and it alleviated the parks crews of going over there sometimes 2 full days a week, and picking up the garbage and doing all that and getting the garbage off. So wow. And not only that, then we get it's a fundraiser for the city, and I do believe we petitioned petitioned Pat to keep those monies into a parks fund. Now, whether that's going to happen or not, I'm not certain. But we can follow up on that to see what's going on. The other issue is that the grow operation down at the old paper mill is doing extremely well. They have apparently they have sold out, and I don't know if you know this or not, but they sold out of their all of their inventory. So their marketing issues and the kind of product that they are making is the highest quality on the West Coast, apparently, and it's very much sought after. So they're having a great, really a good year. What's interesting about that is that they have decided to give and a stipend to the city, to the parks, to the police for safety, for the parks for recreation, and the parks and police, and then the part of the police would be for the education as well. So it's parks, education, and police. And so that means some more money for the parks. The amount of money that those people are generating down there, and I believe they have 26 full-time people now, is astronomical. So hopefully we'll see an upswing as we go forward in revenues from our industry. I know that when Boise was here, they did so much to fund our sewage bills, but fund our parks as well. So that's good to see. One sad note is that we had I had some calls about the Veterans Memorial Plaza one time, but you know, hopefully if we had more people involved in our plaza, what I'm asking for is some volunteers to step forward. Now, I went to a veterans meeting and asked about that, and it went nowhere. So we'll see about that. Until then, it's all on Thad's shoulders, and we've got to keep that's kind of an icon for our city. Is that plaza? A lot of people who come into McCormick Park. It's by where the restrooms are. It's kind of the vortex of McCormick Park, and it's an icon that needs to be kept up. And if you know of any volunteers that are in the community who would like to take that on, I know Kiwanis takes things on. They do the Oak Tree Park, and the Lions Club does some things in McCormick Park. Even the League of Disc Golfers, or disc on that disc golf course, keep their share up in that sense. So there's a lot of volunteerism that's going on in our community, and it would be really good if we can focus one group on the Veterans Memorial Plaza, especially for holidays, Memorial Days, Veterans Day, 4th of July, those kinds of things. Okay, that's my report. And what a great group of people to be surrounded with today. And what a wonderful day. Have a great meeting.
Thank you, Doug. I have a couple of questions about the stipend. Do you know how much that stipend is and when we'll be receiving it? And if there's specifics as to how it can be used?
Yeah. As soon as they sign their contract.
Oh, got it.
It's like an attorney war going back and forth and about little things, like little survey marks and this and that. And then it was supposed to be done 6 months ago, and it's been in kind of flux for a year. And it's just going back and forth on negotiations and those kinds of things. But that stipend is going to be substantial. It's like a certain percentage of the product that gets shipped out. So it's something that was kind of the foresight of the council when we were doing this, and when that group came to St. Helens and asked for the rights to buy that property. And at first it was to lease it, but then the state forced them to buy it. And so, at that time they wanted the property so bad that they started saying that we're saying, our community might not like you people, and our community might give us enough pushback to say, no, this is not a good thing. And they said, well, we want to be a part of the community, and to prove that, we will give you folks a stipend. And I think it was somewhere around 7 to 10%, but I'm not certain. I don't know what those percentages are at this point because things are still in flux, but that did not go away. And so that's one of the things that was encouraging for me as for that industry to come to town.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
And then I had another question about the Veterans Memorial and
Yes.
keeping that up. Have we ever thought about reaching out to local businesses and asking them to sponsor a park or an area of a park for like a year to put a sign up that says kind of like the side of the road signs?
That is really a good idea. And what we've done is reached out to the civic groups They,
Okay.
like Kiwanis and the Lions Club, those
Okay.
groups have come forward to help facilitate or help volunteer and facilitate our needs for maintenance. That's a super idea. And I'll talk about
Okay.
that. I'll write that down, put that on my council report for so we can talk that up meantime. And I'll give that to the report to the city council on Wednesday. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you. Does anyone else have questions for Doug? All right, let's move on to new business, which we don't have anything on the agenda for new business. So if there's anything that's not on the agenda that you want to talk about, we'll cover it at the end. So we'll move on to old business. Annual report to council reminder, that is this week at 1 p.m. The report is in the work session packet. So if you guys want to see that, that's there. Let me know if you guys want me to email out the final version and I can send that to you as well. So does anyone have questions about that? All right.
Looking forward to it.
Yay. And thank you to Lynn and Sue for providing feedback so that I was able to incorporate that. I appreciate it.
Sure.
Next up is Dalton Lake Nature Preserve updates. Lynn.
Okay, this will be really quick. We're still waiting for a lot of things to come together right now. But we did have a friends work party on June 27th and we had 10 people show up. So it was a big success. We had a number of bags we filled with, we were focusing on the ivy. So we were cutting them around trees and getting them off the base of the trees and stuffing them in the bags. So it went really well. We had 2 people show up from Canby. They had heard about it somewhere on Facebook and through their church and other things, and it was great to have them. It was a young man and his father, and they wanted to be notified when things are happening again, and I gave them the Facebook name, and it worked out great. Anyway, it was really nice. And we had a person from Columbia City also join us, and several other people that you would know. But what I did was created a spreadsheet so that I could get the date, the volunteer name printed, and the signature and the project worked and the hours worked so that I can provide a report in January to the council. They all signed their volunteer forms for the city of St. Helens. So I have those, and let's see here. The signs have been ordered by Public Works, and they plan on putting the sign in for the Rutherford Parkway entrance on the south side. And the bird and plant lists that we have will be laminated by Public Works and put on the kiosk. And we're just waiting for
or City Hall.
Yes, okay. We're just waiting for the Trex bench and the bike rack and repair station for the install there. And that should be done by maybe the end of August. And I don't see Paul, but I'm thinking at least by the end of August. And
Awesome.
I'm thinking, one thing I'd like to do is maybe even have a ribbon cutting ceremony, something, you know, for the city, and maybe invite the commissioners. And I look at it as a pretty big deal for the city to have this preserve. And it's a real gem. And if we can possibly do that, you know, I'll work really hard for that. Also, if we can, and I can get that in place, I would have to let the city know by next month. Isn't that correct, Doug?
That would be helpful.
Yes.
And so for I got an idea for the ribbon cutting. Why don't we just get a big swath of ivy? Oh, I love that.
Maybe we can braid it. That's a great idea. I like that.
Jerry will bring poison oak.
Yes. Yeah, Carmen
laced in
and
it.
I'll bring poison oak.
Okay, I'll braid it. Yeah, and also there was some native species signs that we were going to get put along the trail to begin with, and that's still in the process. I've already talked to Lona and Deborah Brimacombe, who are making up the list along that north trail. And so we're just trying to figure out the size of those, the color, the background color on that. And we should be good to go this next month.
Exciting.
Yeah, I think that's about it. Waiting.
Thank you, Lynn.
You're welcome.
Very cool. All right, let's move on to 6C, which is master plan list additions. The list is linked in the agenda. Did anyone have anything they wanted to add this time? I know it's a pretty light meeting.
I've probably got a question on one. Once again, on the end of 4th Street, the trail there, that rental house, we keep having a lot of different people move into there. And once again, when we had to move the parking lot over there, it was said that the property line was someplace around 6 to 7 feet off the side of the building. I'm wondering if in the master plan, if we could get somehow a way to identify where the property line is between the duplex, the rental property, and the park, and get some rocks put in there. They're starting to drive trailers like 15, 20 feet beyond that now. And so I really think that it could be important for us to start to think in the master plan of trying to put money in there for finding where some of our park boundaries are to alleviate questions on where the park really is and where a neighbor's property starts. You know, I know they did that on the 5th Street right away. They put a pin in there so that we could know where that was, because the new 5th Street right away trail we thought was real close to one property line and stuff, you know. So I think that's something we need to think about possibly in the master plan list. So
Good idea, Howard. Good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the botanical gardens is another one that it would be really helpful
Yes.
to have signs up. And Jerry, you've got your hand up, it looks like.
I do. I want to ask Howard a question. So Howard,
Go for it.
as you're looking basically south, you're talking about the house that's on the left, that blue house that has
Right.
their garage over there, where there was some camas over there.
Yeah. I mean,
So
right
they're
now,
starting.
you there still? You froze, Jerry.
Uh-oh, Jerry's frozen.
Brr.
Jerry.
Jerry?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're starting to encroach on the park there, Howard?
There we go.
Yeah, they're starting to put stuff, you know, it's a new renter again. And so, you know, they're starting to bring in more stuff. There's a pickup truck to the right side of it, which is probably just about on the line. I noticed over the weekend now that they've taken a trailer and kind of backed it up onto a little bit of the rock there now, a little bit farther into, you know, into what I would think was the park. And so that's why I think that eventually, with it being a piece of rental property, and they're
So
probably
you'd like-
doing a
so you'd
line
like
of
some-
rocks to demark it.
So you'd like some boulders put in there then?
Yeah, just to define it a little better. You know,
Is that
especially since the
something
rental is getting new people in there all the time, that it's hard to keep up on who's there. You know what I mean? So it's only a suggestion.
Is that something we could explore outside of the master plan, that specific case? Because that sounds more like a right now issue that could become a long-term issue, but if we could address it earlier rather than later.
That
And
one
then-
would be, yeah, that would be, you know, that'd be great if we could look at that a little bit closer now. But I still think that some of our other parks probably have the same issues coming up as people become more crowded around our parks, is where are some of the park boundaries in relation to houses, you know, and that type of thing. So
Yeah, I think adding the park boundaries as an item overall would be really great. And then I don't know if, Sue, is there any way that we can address that specific instance sooner rather than later?
Well, without knowing exactly where the property line is,
Yeah.
yeah, it would be hard to do it immediately, and we can take guesstimates off of the GIS, but the way it shows their driveway, it does go down to the end of Third and then goes in the right of way that is south of that and then curves up to the house. So
Mhm.
it,
That house did buy the extra road right away before we all decided not to, so they do have a little bit wider of an area, but they
Yeah.
seem that Jacob at one time seemed to think where they have a little shed out there that the actual
Yeah.
line would be about 7 to 10 feet off the side of that shed, you know.
yeah,
So,
probably that's probably close.
you know, so that's why, I mean, slowly they always like, oh, it's a flat area, I can just ram this a little farther this way. And that's kind of becoming the problem in that area,
Yeah.
you know, so. I don't know. I just
So-
I'd throw it out there.
Sure, yeah. You know, if they're just one vehicle here and there, but if they start obviously using it for like permanent storage and things like that, then that would be something that potentially we could get the code enforcement to come and help us out with.
But still, somehow, eventually, I would love to see a row of rocks there to demarc that. It's just
Yeah.
a driveway with nothing to really say where the canvas is, and you know, that type of thing is in there.
Yeah.
You know, if they have a party, they kind of park a little farther that way and everything else.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you on that one.
Thank you. I know last time we talked about for the master plan, potentially looking at like once or twice a year updates where we add addendums to the master plan, and I was going to draft something up. I haven't had time to draft that up yet, but I hope to have something for next meeting. So fingers crossed. Does anyone else have anything regarding master plan additions? All right.
Actually, I
Anything
had-
for
yeah.
discussion items or other business? Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Who was that?
How to go about this, to be honest.
Oh, hi, Walter.
Hi there. Over at like Walnut Park, there's this really big tree. I was wondering if it would be possible to put in a swing.
I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't know. Is there a branch that's suitable for a swing?
There are a
Lynn,
few.
do you know that's
They've cut they've cut the branches up because of worrying about some of them falling on the house nearby, the couple of houses nearby. So it's about over 100 years old, I know. I don't know if that'd be a great idea. And we try to keep it as clear as we can. It's a very small area because we mow it and weed it. And I think those branches would be a little high for a swing.
Oh my, I would worry.
I was just thinking of like a tire swing, to be honest.
Yeah, I realize that, but I guess you'd have to get the arborist or someone out there that from the city that could answer that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that our insurance people would go crazy on this.
I imagine.
The city putting up something that isn't certified to be safe is extremely vulnerable. It just is. I mean, it's a good idea to look at putting a swing in there, a swing set, but something hanging from a tree, oh my heavens. You
I'm
have to
wondering
do
how
that
the
in your
swing
own
set exactly
backyard.
differs from the tree itself. There are several like really strong, sturdy, thick branches coming out over the park area.
Well, you have to, I don't think our insurance guy would be at all interested in insuring us throughout the city with our city contract. That would be a deal killer for sure.
Fair enough.
Thank you for asking about that, though.
Yeah.
Jerry, you have your hand up. Did you have something?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. Hey, it's Jenny. Are you with us, Jenny?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening mostly, but yeah.
Good. Hey, I read, so you're still pursuing federal and state funds for the boardwalk? And I wondered if you could just kind of give us an update on what's happening and what potentially could happen there.
Yeah, so right now we have 2 grants pending that total 1 million in ask, and they're for the Riverwalk. We're calling it the Riverwalk.
Oh, is that, okay, that's what we're gonna start calling it, the Riverwalk?
Yeah.
Okay.
And those 2 grants would be matched with a city contribution as well. So the total project we're thinking will be 1.5 million for phase 1. And that will be mainly focused on the park improvements, so improvements in the existing Columbia View Park. So we would start the kind of boardwalk piece there, and then it would extend slightly outside the park. So that's what we have pending grants for currently. One of the grants we just got notice, the one is federal, as you noted, and they have to get review by the National Park Service, and this has been delayed. So because I don't know if it's budget shortfalls due to COVID, but normally that review process would have started already and we could be in contract by winter, but it's looking like that's going to get pushed out. So that's kind of, we're in this holding period right now.
Jen,
Yes, hi.
I like the name the Riverwalk. So that whole trail that's going to be facing the property, the old Boise property, we're going to call that the Riverwalk now?
Yes. I mean, I think that's what we've been calling it in our grant applications.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that name, by the way, better than other things I've heard it called. So with the federal grant, maybe I misunderstood you a little bit there, but with the federal grant, would that Riverwalk extend all the way down to Howard's Park?
So we've applied for funding for phase 1. And right now it only includes a portion outside the existing park. I believe it's about 1,100 feet is what we hope to construct. But future phases will extend the entire length of the site.
So Jim, what do you think the chances are that the city will get those grants? You think they're good, bad,
well,
indifferent, or you
one
don't
is
know?
looking very good. One is pending approval. But we have to have the formal review process federally still. So we've gotten board recommendation for approval for 500,000, but it just has to go through one more, I'm going to call it a bureaucratic step. The other one is local, so it's a state grant, and it's funded mostly by lottery funds. And because of the COVID shutdown, and lottery funds substantially decreasing, it's a question about timing. I'm optimistic that it's a high priority project, but I don't know that the funding mechanism will still be there. So right now we're supposed to do presentations either in Salem or digitally in September or October, and then they make decisions based on those presentations for that one. So that one is more questionable, but I feel really good about the one. It's just kind of checking one more box of review. But the second one is a little bit more up in the air.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah. Keep working on that. I would like to see the Riverwalk completed one of these days. It's an integral part of the urban trail.
Yep, for sure.
Thank you, guys. Does anyone else have items for discussion today?
I've got a couple of minor questions in that area a little bit. One would be as Jerry just mentioned the urban trail. I hope that hasn't totally fallen totally off the grid at this time, you know, with the improvements of the 5th Street right away and the improvements of the stairs at Great Cliffs Park. It's starting to seem like, you know, we need to somehow find a way to publicize that a little bit more, or get something going on, even if we don't have a lot of signs, just to try to get a pamphlet out there or something that tells people that there's this possibility that you can do this great loop, you know. We've been noticing a lot more people in our parks that are coming out here from actually Portland and many other areas, and it would be great if we could start publicizing for these people more ways that they could walk through our community and see how great St. Helens is, you know. My other question is, we've been giving out some of the park pamphlets that we came up with. Is there more of those available would be a question that I could get a hold of, since my supply of park pamphlets that we had printed a while ago is gone out, you know.
Yeah, I would have to check on that, Howard. I'm not sure if we have a supply, if we would have to have more printed.
Okay, so I'd like to, you know, put that out there too. I've also got a question with a couple of our restoration areas that we have going around there. Is there any chance that somebody could print us up some type of a sign that says like restoration area being done or something, just so people would understand when they come by and see all these cages and stuff that it's kind of a restoration area that's being worked on? And that's my main questions that I have.
Howard?
Yeah.
Deborah and Lona put up a couple of signs, actually 3 of them at Dalton, saying that restoration was in process. So I could send you a copy of that. It's simply laminated and was put on. Yeah, you want me to do that?
Yeah, and I'll see if we can somehow.
You can change the name.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll send that.
I've got a bit of a discussion item, and this is directed at Paul. I see, Paul, that you're muted. Maybe you can unmute and get back to us. But on the master plan, I was really interested in seeing something really aggressive, because it's our one big chance to do something. And in terms of beefing up our bike lanes and our bike mobility in our city. I know that there are some streets that are identified as bike lanes in the government. I don't know. You ride your bike quite a bit. I've been starting to ride mine more, and I'm somewhat disappointed in just the limited access that we have for bicycles to go from point A to point B in our city. Do you have any interest in suggesting that we upgrade the standards for our bike lanes?
Well, I could take a look at it again, but the last time I looked at it, from what I remember, there was, bike lanes and addressing bike lanes and more bicycle routes throughout St. Helens had been addressed. So I don't know exactly to what extent you're referring to, at least in the master plan, at least from what I remembered before looking at it. So I'm misunderstanding it.
No, it's like the ideas are generated from this group. And if there's a need, I'm just asking you if you feel that there's a need to upgrade our master plan for bike lanes and bike routes in our city. If not,
yeah, I'll take a look at it further. But from the last that I saw, I thought it was addressed fairly well. So
okay.
Yeah, so if you want to look at it, Paul, there should be a link to the transportation system plan on the planning department page, and it's part of that was adopted in 2011.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll certainly take a look at it. It's been a while since I went through it, but
Okay. Sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul. I just thought, just it crossed my mind. So I thought, well, since the master plan is here, and we're getting ideas for it, it could be 10 years, 15 years from now before more, the master plan issue comes up again. So anyway, that's one of the things that I just kind of thought about. I didn't want it to get kind of like swept under the carpet.
enough.
Jerry, your hand is up again.
Yes, my hand is up again. Yes.
I'm next.
Yeah, I'm going to just kind of follow up on what Howard said. I don't want this urban trail, to go away. We spent a lot of time, making a plan for that. But as an example, Friday, just a few days ago, my wife and I, we went on a road trip. We were tired of staying home. And we went to Hood River, and they have a trail in Hood River called the Indian Creek Trail. And kind of what Howard said, there are, the trail is not just for local people to get exercise, but there are people who, look around and visit other cities and look for places to go. So it is a way to really, advertise our town and get St. Helens out there. So I think the urban trail is something that would be really important for the city of St. Helens to have.
Lynn, you had said you needed or wanted to say something, and Paul has his hand raised as well. So.
Yes, let Paul go first because mine was directed at Doug. So.
Okay. Oh,
mine's
okay. So
mine just short, and I was
okay.
Want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, mine's just quick, and I was reluctant to even bring it up, but I just figured I would let everybody know there's been some minor vandalism down at the BMX track here recently, so take it for what it's worth. I don't know that there's much that can really be done to it. I'm sure there's vandalism in all the parks at different times. Nothing serious, but so anyways.
What kind of vandalism? Like spray painting or?
Well, we've had a window busted. We've had the door ripped off on one of the buildings, and the gutters tore off the other building. So.
Jeez.
Sorry to hear that.
Just kids, nobody's stealing anything, just being destructive, and so anyways.
So Paul, is the BMX being used quite a bit? There's a lot of use down there?
There's a fair amount of people that go down there and use it. Yeah, I think so. Every time I'm down there, there's always somebody down there, it seems like.
Well, I had a question that's directed at Doug. As you know, in the proposal was gaining access or actually buying out property so that we have a southern access to Dome. And I was wondering if there was any progress made on that you know of.
Not that I know of.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Let me chat with you about that.
Okay.
Afterwards, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. Does anybody else have specific discussion items? I had just a couple of things that I wanted to bring up really quick. My question was for Sue, was there a Marine Board, a letter for the Marine Board that you needed us to sign?
So we decided not to pursue that particular grant option because Jenny talked to the Marine Board folks and found that they have engineering services available outside of this grant process that are basically free. So we decided it would be a better value to us to utilize their engineering services to at least get something designed, so then we would have an idea of the scope what we needed to do in order to move forward with the fishing kayak pier or dock or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to move in that direction, and because without knowing exactly what would be needed, it would be hard to apply for the grant at this point in time.
Okay.
But yeah, thanks for checking up on that. Jenny, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Just a time frame. Janine is the coordinator at this Oregon State Marine Board, and she said she's hoping to visit the site in late August or September, pending any additional modifications associated with COVID. And then I'm going to check in with her this month about scheduling that. So that's kind of the first step, is get them out to the site, and then they put their technical assistance crew on a design process. And then once we have a design, we can apply for funding.
Great. Awesome. Thank you guys for those updates.
Thanks.
And then the other thing that I wanted to follow up on was last time, and I think the time before, we talked about issues with garbage and garbage cans. And so I was wondering if anyone had, Howie, I think you brought those up last time, and we were going to place some garbage cans and we're going to kind of report back. So curious if anyone has updates on that.
Well, I know they did block one halfway between the end and in the middle, and it looks like it's getting used. They ended up blocking one to the bench there. That's all I was really after in that area. I don't know anything more than that. Hopefully no one's abusing it.
Yeah, I'd have to ask Thad what he knows about those.
Okay. I figure no news is good news, but.
What'd you say, Thad?
What was that, Thad?
Oh, we chained that garbage can down to the bench that's anchored on the ground, so they couldn't throw it in the river this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, stole the garbage bag out of it today. I stole the garbage bag out of it today.
All right.
But they used those for raincoats or something. I don't know. They just dumped the garbage in the bottom of the empty can and take the bag, which I expect to smell pretty bad, but they take it.
Whoa.
Jeez.
Some people are creative.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys for those updates. Is there anything else as far as discussion items or other business from any city staff?
I don't know if I'm city staff, but I had a question.
Oh, go for it.
So I was looking through the master plan thing, and down at the marina, one of the options was to create like the big clamshell kind of thing for maybe music and outdoor things like that.
Are you talking about down in Columbia View Park, down here by the docks?
Yeah, down near the courthouse and everything.
So Jenny can correct me if I misstate this, but I believe that it might not be a clamshell type of structure, but that's replacing the gazebo with a new multifunctional stage facility is part of those grants that she was talking about, I believe, or it would be part of the match. It's wrapped into that project with the river walk, the first phase. Is that correct, Jenny? Am I misstating that?
It may not. It's definitely not funded by the grants I was referring to when Jerry asked for an update, but it could be, and very likely will be, a project that goes parallel with the Riverwalk.
Okay.
Maybe it'll be funded from a different source. But City Administrator Walsh is of the mindset, and I agree, that those should be designed in tandem because they're so close to each other, and it should kind of feel like a cohesive area down there. So that's what we're working towards.
Was there something in the paper talking about WANA Federal Credit Union doing something with some of that, or trying to partner with us on that?
I'm not familiar with the sponsorship program. Maybe Sue is familiar. I did see that article.
Yeah, it was a press release. They've partnered with some sponsorship money for the stage for 13 Nights and other activities down there for the last few years. So it was just a renewal of that partnership,
Oh, okay. Okay.
from what I understand.
Mm-hmm.
Their name will go on the new
Yeah.
theater.
I just thought it was a really cool design, and I was wondering if I could be more involved, but I was,
Yeah, and I'm certain that the design process with the boardwalk and the amphitheater will have a public involvement component. I think that's a necessary part of the project because it's utilized by the public so heavily.
Yes.
So you will definitely have an opportunity.
awesome. Amphitheater was the word I was looking for.
Yeah, we want to utilize because it's already got amazing seating in there. So we really just need a better stage.
Yeah.
And that clamshell photo, that was just something I use as an example of a waterfront stage. So it didn't necessarily
look really good.
that design. Yeah.
And you could do like a mural or something on that. That would look really cool.
Yeah.
That was all I had.
Thank you, Walter.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Go ahead, Lynn.
And trying to keep the work groups going on a monthly basis down at Dalton to clear up some of the trails, the ivy, and the other things we want to do before opening up with all of our signs and everything. I think we'll have another one on the 25th. So it's Saturday, the 25th of this month. And so I'll post it on the Friends Facebook page as an event. And like I said, we're going to try and do this every month at least.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. Organizing a cleanup, is that what you were saying?
Yes, it's going to be not necessarily clean up, a cut up. We've got to open up the areas to get to the Columbia River. We've got 3 different areas where you can walk out to the river, but they're closing up fast.
Okay. Well, I've done a lot of that before, so if you want to like send me a
It'll be on our
text or
Facebook
something.
page. Yeah, it'll be on our Facebook page, Walter.
Okay.
Friends of Dalton Lake Nature Preserve.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you have like my direct information, I tend to stick to my phone a lot better. So if I see it in my text or anything, it'll be like in the forefront of my mind a lot better or a lot faster.
All right, I'll do that.
Awesome. Great. I need something to do anyway.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Is Shanna still on? Did
Yeah,
you
Shauna.
have some?
I am.
Shauna, sorry.
Yeah, so just really quick, I'm working with the police station on seeing what we can do with their bike inventory that they have there. And I was just curious if there's anyone on this commission that would be interested in help repairing possibly some of the bikes. I've seen where other community groups do, like say we have 30 bikes, so people sign up 1 through 30 and then they get to come and pick what bike they want. And just doing something super simple, but that way we can get the bikes out to the community, especially during times like this where the kids, need something to do. So I know Paul is super experienced, but I don't know if he has capacity for that. But if anybody else would be interested in looking through those with me to see which ones are worth giving out or not. And if not, if you have any resources for me, that would be awesome too.
I'd be happy to help look through, but I am not one for actually doing bike repairs. But I'm happy to help how I can, so feel free to reach out and email.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Shauna, I know before we had a ton of bikes over here in the Stimson building, and I think those came from the police department too. So I'll find out if those are still in there too and let you know.
Awesome. Yeah, my thought was just in the back parking lot having, a bike day where people come pick up a bike and then we can get them back out into the community. Please, they do have to post them for 30 days just to do like a last call type of thing. But yeah, Carmen, I'll definitely be in touch with you.
And on that idea,
It'd be great if we could get a helmet partnership too. If there's any way we could get someone to donate helmets.
We have helmets.
Oh, we do? Okay. Great.
Yeah, I still have them from the old bike and pedestrian committee that I was on, and I've just been hanging on to them. They're down at the BMX track. There's, oh, I don't know, there's probably 75 helmets or something right
Oh,
now.
wow.
Wow.
Another question with the Bicycle Pedestrian Committee. At one time, I know they had a little bit of a budget. Is there anything left of that budget, or is that all gone?
There should still be some money in that account whenever that we merged. So a few $100, anyways, I think. Yeah.
I guess we should find out what it is someday so we know what it is. So, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure
find
it's
that
the record's there, or I can go look and see. But
I could probably pull up my old meeting minutes too.
hey, maybe I could store the helmets down there with you, huh, Sean? Maybe that'd be a better place to store them.
Yeah, you can totally, that would work.
Would that work, or?
Yeah, that would work. I think it'd be great to do a bicycle and a helmet.
Okay.
So thank you
Yeah.
for that idea, Howard. And
Yeah, because I haven't done anything with them other than I handed out some the last couple of years at that
Innocence Day.
that city. Yeah, either that or the city's put on that big deal in the McCormick Park one, in July or whatever, for whatever that was called. I can't remember now. Anyways.
So yeah, just let me know what works for you, Paul, and I'll let you know when I'm here. You can drop them off to me.
Okay.
Cool, thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you for thinking of that. That's awesome. Okay, last call. Any other items? Going once, going twice. All right, meeting adjourned.
Bye, guys.